Hi there, Jack Bennett here. Welcome to the lesson. In today's lesson, we're going to have a look at expanding rhythms. So that means reading rhythms and learning how to play more complex versions of those rhythms. So what I'll do to start with is just play you a really simple rhythm, which you can download in the PDF below. And I'm just going to play it through a few different ways, and you'll hear every time I play it, it gets slightly more complex as I start to introduce more accents, and eventually I start to add in rolls and then play it around the kit. I'm going to play it for you first, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about why you'd want to learn how to doing this, okay, and the value of learning how to expand certain rhythms. Okay, so here's the basic rhythm. I'm just going to play it without any accents at all. You can use any sticking that you like. I'm just going to alternate, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can hear it's a fairly simple rhythm. It's just using crotchets and quavers or quarter notes and eighth notes, and it's just a 4-bar rhythm in 4/4 time, okay? Once again, it's just 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 4, and 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3. So what I'll do now is I'll play it about 5 or 6 times, and you'll hear every time it gets slightly more complex, and then I'll explain what I'm doing, and we'll have a little bit of a chat about why we need to learn how to do this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so as you heard by the end there, you know, when we're playing with the rolls and the toms and the cymbals and all of that, it's a long way from the first variation of just going. Okay, so I'll show you how to play all of that stuff in a second and how we arrive at that, but I just want to chat a little bit about why it's a good idea to learn how to do this in the first place. As a contemporary drummer, quite often the music that we get given in a band situation is often different than you might get if you're playing in a classical scenario. Usually if you play in an orchestra with a classical instrument, the music has every single note written out. Sometimes you get that as a contemporary drummer. You know, you might get something where it's a solo and you go away and you work on it, maybe something like, you know, Steve Gadd's Crazy Army or Frank Zappa's The Black Page. But, you know, usually when you're given drum charts, and it could be in any situation, a TV gig, a theatre show, a cruise ship, a corporate gig, usually the composer or the arranger leaves certain things up to your own interpretation. So you might get a certain section, it might just say fill, or it might just say drum solo, and nothing's written. They give you no indication of what they want. So, or they might just give you certain hits, like the band might be playing section figures and you might have the slash notation in the middle of the stave, which is an ensemble figure, or it might just have a section figure, you know, small note heads written on the top of the stave, things like that. Now, in some instances, it might be enough just to play the rhythms as written, but quite often, if the music is a little bit more intense, if it's in a bigger part of the song or whatever, you might be required to play more complex fills, but still using those same accent series. Okay, so, you know, sometimes people who don't play the drums might look at drum charts and say, oh, that's really easy, and you just play whatever you like. Well, it's actually not easy at all. It's not until you've done it the first time, you know, read a band chart and you're trying to coordinate everything, and all of a sudden, you know, this is in junior school band or whatever, the first time that you actually see this and it just says fill, and you're like, what the hell am I supposed to play? Why would they not write in what I'm supposed to play? And it's a fair call, because it is quite tricky to think up something on the fly that's going to be relevant and accurate to the style. So in that sense, the arranger or the composer is making a couple of assumptions. First of all, that you're going to have just this broad vocab of ideas to draw on, and I guess also that you are going to play something that is stylistically accurate to that particular song. Okay, because obviously, if I'm playing like a fast big band swing tune, well, I'm not going to do a rock and roll fill when it says fill. If I'm playing a halftime funk shuffle, I'm not going to turn the snare wires off and launch into like a timbale thing either. It's got to be stylistically accurate. Okay, so This is a great exercise for teaching you how to read simple rhythms but play complex versions of them. And it's just a great thing for developing your overall vocab on the instrument, and it's a really good thing for your technique as well. Okay, so let's get back to this first way that we're interpreting this rhythm, which is, as we heard, it has a kind of like a swung feel. So let's just take the first bar. Okay, I'll demonstrate this technique of getting into the rolls and the toms and all of that with just the first bar. We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, we'll just do that much. The second way that I played it, I interpreted the eighth notes as swung eighth notes or swung quavers. Okay, so that then became, the quarter notes are still the same, but the eighth notes then became 1, 2, 3, and 1. Okay, if this is the pulse, when you swing the eighth notes, you delay them a little bit. So you get 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, and it has more of a rolling triplet feel. If you subdivide triplets and you play the in-between eighth notes as the third triplet, you're pretty much, that's exactly what a swung eighth note is, particularly at these slower tempos. So if you think da 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 da, or 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 3 and a 4 and a 1, the triplet, the third triplet of both beats 3 and 4, that is actually the swung eighth note, or the swung quaver, okay? And that leads directly into the next way that we're going to play it, okay? So first off, you just want to get used to going from straight to swung. So get used to that. That would be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. And then going 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, one was straight, the first one was straight, the second one was swung. The next way that we're going to play it is we're going to fill in, with that triplet context in mind, we're going to fill in all the in-between triplets that we're not yet playing. But we're going to play them super soft. Okay, we're going to play them as non-accents. So I'll just play the accents at half stroke and I'll play the non-accents round about tap stroke so you can hear the difference. It's the same accent series though, okay? Starting with the right hand, and I'm alternating right, left the whole way through. I'm never doubling up, not yet. Okay, so that would then be 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Okay, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. Okay, that's what we're doing there. So you can see on screen with the notation how that works with the previous sample of just playing it as a regular swung note without any triplets in it. The next variation, to actually turn it into a roll, we're going to double up all of the non-accented notes as 30-second note triplet double stroke rolls. Okay, so let's just have a look at beats 1 and 2 without the swung quavers yet. If we're going from this 1 and 2 and I want to accent the in-between triplets, which are the second and the third triplet, I'm going to double them up like this. Instead of just 1 and 2 and it's like I'm now going 1 and 2 and but make sure you're using double stroke sticking. Okay, so now as far as beats 3 and 4 are concerned, we've obviously got this 3 and a 4 and a 1. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look at every triplet that is not being played as an accent, and within beat 3 it's the middle triplet of beat 3, which is a left. 3 and is now going to become 3 and Then if we look at beat 4, we've got 4 and are both low, 4 and the is loud, so that now becomes 4 4 and I mean, you wouldn't actually count it 4 4 and or anything like that, but that's just a way of sort of assigning it to which part of the subdivision you're on. So the all up, instead of being, it'd be, so that whole bar would now be this. Then, in the next interpretation, I'm putting all of the right-hand accents on floor tom, or the left-hand accents on first tom. I get this. Okay, a bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the final variation, I'm putting all of the right hands on the ride cymbal with the bass drum, so the right foot is now coming into play, and I'm playing all the left hand accents on the snare. So I'd now get... Okay, so now with that final interpretation, I'll play the whole 4-bar rhythm.